Hello, beautiful, amazing, powerful people. If you haven't tuned into my channel before, welcome. If you have been following me for a while, I am so excited to reconnect with all of you. It's been entirely too long. I'm here at this really beautiful, historic farm here in Jacksonville, Florida. And, you know, today I was really wanting to make this video after procrastinating entirely too long and trying to wait until all the conditions are right. Perfect temperature, perfect wind situation, you know, got to have my selfie stick and all this stuff. Well, come to find out, I get here, forget the selfie stick. I was on the water initially. There's a beautiful, this is right here on the intercoastal, but it's entirely too windy. But anyway, I'm still making the darn video. No longer procrastinating. Does not have to be perfect. Just a matter of doing it, just doing it. Doesn't have to be perfect, right? So here we are. What I wanted to talk about today is a little bit more about the real shit that's going down during your spiritual awakening process, and maybe some of the things I would have liked to have known. It has been a shit show, to be completely honest with you. It has been very chaotic. Lots of ups and downs, lots of highs and lows. And there's certainly different phases of the journey that have occurred in the last 2 years. And I made my first video a couple years ago after having somewhat of a spiritual awakening. I like to call it a spiritual initiation, just starting this transformation process. I had been practicing Dr. Joe Dispenza's meditations, and it initiated a mystical experience where I had a lot of involuntary movements in my body to relieve some of the pain that I had been experiencing. I now know that to be Kundalini Kriyas. But since then, my entire life has changed. I left my home, I left my husband, I traveled across the continent because I was searching, I was seeking something new. I was feeling so empty inside. The way that I'd been living was no longer working for me. The relationships I was in, they just felt empty. There was no connection, there was no depth, there was no, I just felt like I desperately needed to figure out and find my way, find myself, figure out what the heck was going on. And there had to be something better. To start, I was very optimistic when I began this channel, and I want to be a little bit more realistic now. I was optimistic, now I'm a little bit more realistic. Initially, when this journey started, it was very magical. There was a lot of amazing feelings. There was like felt very connected to the universe. I felt very connected to something bigger than me. You know, seeing a lot of synchronicities. I was seeing a lot of like repeating numbers, a lot of really clear messages that were guiding me along my path. And I shared a lot of those with you in some of the initial videos that I had recorded. What I didn't know is the peaks and valleys that were to come. And the reason those things occurred. Because a lot of times you can get into this victim mentality. So there's different phases of the spiritual journey, which I wasn't aware of at the time. And of course you learn all these things as you go, and you don't have to know everything, and you're not going to know everything. But sometimes you just have to learn as you go, and that's part of life. We kind of learn as we go. But I'm going to share a few things that I would have liked to have known and some of my experiences, and hopefully this will help someone out there who might be going through some of the darker phases of the spiritual journey. Because those phases can feel really lonely, feel really hopeless at times. I mean, you can experience depression, experience loss of identity. You can feel really alone in the world. And, you know, I feel like I've been going through that for about 2 years now, maybe more like 1.5 years. And I'm hoping that the end is in sight, for the love of, because it can get really exhausting, and sometimes you just want to resort back to the old way of being, you know, going back to sleep. The only thing that has gotten me through this, and I've said this before, is the meditation piece. The only thing that has gotten me through this is tuning within, going within, and meditating, and tuning into something bigger than myself, which is my higher self, the divine, you know, that powerful energy that creates worlds. So one of the things that can occur during your spiritual awakening, and probably will occur for most people, the majority of people that I have heard from have sort of gone through the long-term spiritual awakening that can last a couple of years. Sometimes it only lasts a couple of months for some people, from what I understand. Sometimes it can last for several, 2 to 3 years. And the different stages of a spiritual awakening, and I'm not going to go through all of those tonight. I'm just speaking from my experience, some of the stages that had occurred during my own personal spiritual awakening. Initial stage was this magical phase. It was also that phase of feeling like the way you've been operating in the world is just no longer working for you. Your job feels soul-sucking and empty. Maybe your relationship, you start to see that, you know, that's not the person that you maybe want to be with, or that relationship isn't fulfilling you anymore. You don't feel connected to that person. You don't even feel like you relate to that person. Or your friends and family, you no longer feel like you have a place there. Like your friends no longer resonate with you. You just start feeling like sort of like the alien in the room. The people, places, and things that used to interest you, the even, you know, activities you used to engage in, they no longer interest you. And you just feel like, what the heck is going on with me? That is usually the first start of a spiritual awakening, that initial phase. Then you might go through the synchronicity magical phase, where you're seeing the, you know, repeating numbers, where you're getting the signs and synchronicities from the universe, and you're just feeling like, oh my God, I'm so connected, something amazing is happening here. In my experience, I started manifesting these incredible opportunities. But you have to be really careful that the things that you are manifesting are truly what you want to manifest. So I have had to get really, really clear with my manifestations, because there were some times when I was looking to manifest one thing, and then, you know, the things would start to come through and come in. You know, I'd start attracting these opportunities, and I would just take this opportunity because it sounded good on paper. It really didn't fit the manifestation criteria that I was actually really hoping and wanting. But I thought, you know, I'm going to make this exception because this is such a cool opportunity, so I'm going to go ahead and do it. And also just sort of acting out of fear, like, well, I need work, so I need to take this job. And those jobs and those opportunities didn't end up working out for me, because ultimately I sort of betrayed myself. I knew that those things weren't going to work with me. I was still trying to operate as the person that I once was, but I'm a new person now. So trying to do and be the things that I've always been, those things aren't working for me. So I have to actually do something different. Trust me, I'm a stubborn goat. So I've done this several times. I've had several amazing opportunities. These high-paying corporate opportunities just fall into my lap. And I took the jobs, I took the opportunities, and they didn't end up working out. You know, I got there and it was like, oh God, what have I done? You know, this is not, I can't do this stuff anymore. The way this, you know, organization operates, this whole like energy here is no longer resonating with me. It's not that I don't want to work, it's just I have to find work that really resonates with who I am now, not the person that I once was. I'm trying to operate from an old way of being. So from that point, that's when it got really the shit show really started happening, because all of those subconscious old beliefs that were operating on autopilot, all of the triggers and things started occurring to bring these things up so that I could see them. For instance, if you're operating from a codependent way of being, so if you've always sort of leaned on other people for support, like for financial support, and maybe that's something that you no longer want to be. So one of the working on manifesting is gaining my financial independence and finding work that resonates with who I am now, you know, and something that really fills me up. And that might sound like a tall order, but people are doing it. And so, you know, I've tried a lot of things. And a lot of those things didn't work out. Ultimately, I was sort of, you know, lying to myself. I'm trying to fit myself into this box. And there's a reason why I don't fit into that box, because maybe that maybe that reason is I'm supposed to go my own way. I'm supposed to create my own, pathway. Maybe I'm supposed to do things differently. By the way, if you guys are enjoying this video, I really, really appreciate it if you would like and subscribe so that you can catch other videos that I make. It also really helps me expand the channel and reach people that might be also looking for this content, that might be in need of this content. Anyway, going through that dark night of the soul, and they call it the hero's journey for a reason, because it is, I'm telling you, it can be rough. Now, from my understanding, the dark night of the soul, some people can go through it for years. Some people go through it for months. What I would have liked to have known are some of the things that I know now. As I'm hoping to round the corner, I don't know. I have absolutely no control over this process. I have hope that I'm rounding the corner and that the light is finally shining at the end of the tunnel. But what I would like to say is the one thing that really got me through this and that is getting me through this is you have to take really good care of yourself. Fill your mind. You must fill your mind with undeniable faith. Fill it to the brim. Those negative, self-defeating thoughts, you can get, the subconscious has stored a lot of stuff over the years, maybe even since your childhood. I was having things from my childhood come up. These things will come up because they need to be released. There were people that I had leaned on over the years when I needed help, and they just stopped responding to my requests, and it felt terrifying. Because here I am, a grown-ass woman, trying to regain my footing and my financial independence, and I'm getting these incredible jobs. 1 week I'm like, oh, I got this great job with this company. And the next week I'm like, so by the way, I was let go from that position, and jobs started falling away. I'm not supposed to do those jobs anymore. I'm not supposed to work in those jobs anymore. The messages and the guidance that I was receiving, I was ignoring because it's scary, it's uncertain. I'm supposed to do my own thing. Well, what the hell is that supposed to be? I need more, information. All I have to do now is follow the nudges that I'm getting. And the nudges that I'm getting now are to continue to create videos, to continue to reach out to my community, to continue to share. I can only share from my personal experience. And I think that's really what we're all supposed to do here. We're all here to help each other and help raise the collective. And we can all do this. You don't have to have a special certification. You don't have to be some expert. Is to share their personal healing journey. Did you come out the other side? Are you working through something? Is there something you can share to help people? There might be people out there that feel hopeless right now, that are going through their, dark night of the soul. They don't maybe not even know that they're having a dark night of the soul. If you're feeling lost, if you're feeling disconnected, if you're feeling alone, if you're feeling like everything you used to know or everything you used to love no longer interests you, if you're feeling like you want to do something bigger, you want a bigger purpose in life, like that you've been living too small and that you're sort of outgrowing these situations, you're most likely going through a spiritual awakening. And if you don't know you're going through a spiritual awakening, I can see where you can think you're going absolutely batshit crazy. So I would suggest reaching out for support, reaching out to a community for support. I would love to hear from all of you. What would you like? What would really help you? Would it be a community of people that you can talk to that are like-minded? Would it be a Facebook group? Are there certain topics that you would like me to talk about? Because this is all for you. I get a lot out of this too, because it's sort of cathartic to be able to share and talk about this stuff. But I would love to hear from you personally. What could really help you? I know that there's been a lot of times where I just want to talk to people about this stuff. There's not a lot of people you can talk to. Sometimes they look at you like you've got, 3 heads. Would you like to talk to people? A little community of people that you can talk to about this stuff. I want you guys to let me know. I know this video is kind of all over the place, but most of these videos I just kind of run with and say whatever's on my mind. I don't really go through this whole organizational process and have cue cards and shit. It's just not how I roll. I like to do it kind of just off the cuff, just talk about things that are coming up. Really, it was just a huge step to make this video because I've been in a pretty dark place. So I love you guys. Thank you all for listening. One day, we're all gonna get through this shit. And for those of you that are already on the other side, help me. No, I'm just kidding. I would love to hear from you too. I would love to hear from you. I'd love to hear about where you are now and how you feel. You feel like more whole and complete. Truly, I just want peace and stability, and I want to feel joy again. I want to feel happy. That's most people when they say, hey, I want abundance, I want these things, is because they think those things are going to bring them happiness. Wealthy people will tell you that wealth is not the key to happiness. Of course, it's helpful because you got to pay for shit, but it's certainly not everything. It's really an inside job. But ultimately, health, happiness, peace, joy, to be able to help my family financially, to be able to help people. That's purpose. That's life. That's living abundantly. This guy has no idea he's on video. Like stalking him. Anyways, guys, thank you all so much for listening to me rant for the last 20 minutes or so. I've missed you guys so much, and I always love to hear from you. I try my best to respond to every comment that I get. Again, if you guys have enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe. And also head over to Instagram and follow me there. I'd love to connect with you if you guys want to chitty chat. I've got my Instagram listed on the video here. But until next time, guys, keep you posted. Bye.